Folks, I don't know if this man needs any introduction, certainly not to my audience, because if one of my mentors that I first found when I found professional development, as many of you guys know, 6,500 hours went into turning this brain of kind of bourbon drinking, playing guitar in pubs, to doing some cool things. And I'm talking about none other than Kurek, mate, author of How Would Love Respond, countless programs, founder of the Life Success Club, of which I have been a member forever, and of which, you know, many of those 6,500 hours owe it to this guy. So, mate, thanks for hanging, bud.
Thank you. And if you notice, we've stolen each other's haircut.
I just because I thought to myself when I saw Kurek's, what if that was the secret? So I shaved it off.
It's just in case. We're like the reverse Samson. We're more powerful without our hair.
But if folks go back, man, we go back to maybe 2008, 2009 when I first called you up, begged, Kurek, I've seen your stuff, I'm
I don't know how
honored,
much
please,
you
please, can you play? And we met in a little room, and the YouTube video is still up. It was back when YouTube had 10-minute limit.
10 minute.
Wow. So, mate, for those who don't know the story of which I have, you know, that book is fantastic. Your life, your history. Guys, for you know, the whole, you know, grew up in Ipswich, action hero fan, where Kurek's, of course, opening at the upcoming Total Success Summit as our opening keynote speaker. So as an action hero, tell us a little bit about those early years of what you used to do for a living before you were the world's premier personal development coach.
Well, I started my career about 12 years old. I used to be an actor. And then 18 years old, moved to LA and started doing movies and TV. Wound up doing 38 films, did 2 films with John Travolta, Two of a Kind and Perfect. Then wound up doing one with another one of my all-time idols, Sylvester Stallone.
Lock Up, one of my favorites. He's the one who killed first base, because you were often the bad guy, weren't you?
Well, and it's funny, because I was just with Sly in LA last week, and
Lock Up 2 come?
No, and we were talking about the story because Sly brought me in to, because I had known him, really, we were good friends back then, to the director and says, I want you to put my friend in the movie. And he looks at me, in those days I had like feathered hair, like GQ looking, and he's like, Sly, this is a prison film, and your friend looks more like some kind of a model or something. Doesn't fit. And Sly's like, you just hire him, you know? So, anyways, I walk into makeup and I go, Mohawk.
Wow.
You know, and they're like, sir, it's only 2 weeks worth of work. And I'm like, Mohawk, just cut it. And they're like, okay, but we're not going to take responsibility for it. I said, just cut it down. Then put in one blue contact, so I had 2 different color eyes.
Wow.
Had Nazi tattoos, Aryan brother stuff put all over me. Got wardrobe to put me in the prison outfit, you know. Walked in and the director goes, hey, Sly, this is the kind of guy we should hire in a movie instead of your loser friend. And Sly's like, you just hired him about 25 minutes ago. And he's like, Kurek, you didn't have to do this. And I said, you know me, Sly, I always play full out and go for it. So that was the movie Lock Up. And then after that, I went and did a movie in the Philippines called Delta Force 2 with Chuck Norris, in which, again, one of my all-time idols, but that I was involved in a helicopter crash where 5 of my friends died. My best friend was 29 years old.
I mean, when I read that in How Would Love Respond, man, I still get shivers, and when I was reading it, man, tears. It was so moving, and yet, tell us about the strategies. Just and I know, of course, we'll get in more into this at the summit, but you used that pain, I suppose, to push you to greatness eventually.
Well, in its own way. I mean, you use what you get handed in life, you know. And by the way, the reason I want to say that is a lot of people hear a story, you know, they hear my story or some other speaker's story, and they go, God, I wish I had that kind of problem so that I could turn into greatness. And I'm like, no. A lot of people don't come out the other side. You know, I mean, I was lucky to live through the helicopter crash and live through getting the guys out of a burning helicopter, but also then I had 2.5 years afterwards with a gun in my mouth every night and drugs up my nose and smoking cigarettes. I wasn't partying, I was just trying to kill myself.
Wow.
Luckily, I'm not a success at everything in life. But I then one day woke up and realized that my life is not my own. There's people who love you, and there's people who care about you, and there's people who look up to you. Some of them you don't even know about. It's the checkout person at the grocery store that you were nice to, or you know, the strangest things that you know, we're an interdependent human beings. We're not supposed to be independent. We're supposed to be interdependent.
Yeah.
And so, you got to start taking responsibility for those other people. And I realized that this can't be my legacy. This guy who is already into personal development and already doing speaking engagements, then a helicopter wreck takes me off the table for a while and then put me in his tailspin. But I didn't want that to be the end of my story. So I unscrewed a broom pole out of a broom, held over my head in my backyard, cut a line in the sand like a samurai warrior, and said, once I step over that line, I'm done.
That's it.
Because the truth, Glenn, is that in life you have to get to that place where you go, I'm done. I'm done being broke. I'm done being lonely. I'm done being depressed. I'm done being whatever. I'm done. Because otherwise, it's like being buried neck deep in dog poo. And you've been in it so long, you're trying to convince yourself it doesn't stink. It stinks. Take your nose plug off so you go, no, that stinks. Because that will force you into change. Otherwise you're complacent. And so I stepped over that line. I gave up cocaine. I gave up cigarettes. I gave up alcohol abuse. I gave all my guns away. Not that just people wandering down the street. People always say, "Hey, look, you just hand them out." Yeah, that was it. But and then from that moment, and again, this is a moment most people don't really realize because they only hear the short version, I guess, of the story. Is that I didn't have many friends left because all the people who were my good friends didn't really trust me anymore because of the cocaine and the dark world I was living in for so long, and how many times I said I was going to change and didn't. And then the loser friends, and I mean by that is the people that you're, doing drugs with or getting drunk with or whatever. You can't really hang out with those people anymore because you have to change your environment. So there was that lag time in there, that I just said, man, jam all your moments with just like your 6,000 hours, personal development, read books, listen to audios.
Was that the time you toured with Tony, where you were part of an integral part of Tony, to Anthony Robbins?
Anthony Robbins. Well, then a couple of years after that, I was asked by Tony to work with him, and I spent 5 years on the road with Tony. But it's all part of that evolution. And it really comes down to making that decision, being committed to that decision, and then you have to invest in yourself. Right? Because whatever you put in, you get out. And if you look at the word investment, I-N-V-E-S-T-M-E-N-T, I invest in me. It's right there in the word. So the best investment you can ever make, as you know, and you're a testament to that, is in your own personal development.
Yeah, I still pinch myself. Something that I thought, and this is kind of embarrassing to admit, after doing something for 6,500 hours, you're committed to something. There are things that people do that they love that they don't do for 6,500 hours. I'm embarrassed about what I used to think of investing in me in personal development, that I used to scoff at it, and it's the thing that changed my life. And
but we all started there, Glenn. That's the whole idea. I mean, that's, I think, part of the moment of what we want to convey to people at the Total Success Summit is that everybody has fear, everybody has doubt, everybody has insecurity, everybody started in a place where going, oh, that's not for me, or whatever. We all have that, but the key distinction between successful people and average people is that we manage differently how we think and feel than average people do. Now, by average people, I'm just talking about the masses. But Stuart Wilde always said that, if you live in the consciousness of the masses, you're going to wind up with the destiny of the masses. And I will tell you that most people's lives suck. They're overweight, unhappy, divorced, broke, got no goals. Most consumed drug on the planet are called antidepressants. I ask audiences around the world, why are antidepressants being taken so much? And people are like, I don't know. I go, it's because they're depressed. It's not a trick question. That's why are they depressed? Well, they got no goals, they don't have a relationship, they're unhappy, they're miserable, and the rest of those things. We've learned how to manage it different, right? So the GFC, the global financial crisis, hit a number of years ago, right? A lot of people lost their jobs, a lot of people lost their businesses, a lot of people had to sell their homes. A lot of people actually went out and bought homes, a lot of people went out and built businesses.
Well, that's when I found you, right in the middle of that, and that's when I started to go up.
See, because you managed it and used it for something different. So, like Warren Buffett, the media wanted to broadcast how he lost like $2 billion. Of course, he's got like 13 billion left, or whatever. I don't even know what he has, but it's
significant.
And to him, it's all, what he did was, and if you study what he did back then, he actually went out and bought more shares of even the stuff that had dipped because he knew it's going to come back up.
Wow, yeah.
But he's like, discount on shares today.
What a way to look at it.
And so, but see, that's that managing how you think and feel differently.
Yeah.
And that's why I love being a part of this summit, is because you're going to get a mindset from so many people. You're going to get a story from so many people. But really, after a while, find out, wow, isn't it everything that they're teaching is exactly the same in their own way? I mean, the story is different, but the strategy and the formula is still the same.
Yeah, wow. Well, one of the things I learned from you as part of the Life Success Club, which is one of the many programs I've been a part of with yourself, reading the book, How Would Love Respond multiple times, being part of your workshops live. We haven't even talked about the firewalking world record holding. Right. Actually, you know what? I was going to ask another question. I'll get to that. But tell us about the metaphor of firewalking. Because again, when I was looking at fresh, red-hot coals...
And we made sure there was brand new ones for you.
I remember you said, Glenn, just for you, fresh. And I'm like, wow, they were red-hot, they were burning, there was no fake embers.
Now, when he says burning, they weren't burning him, they were just burning hot.
They were burning hot.
Right.
So tell us about that metaphor of how, not burning people, burning them, and then we walked across it safely, something we did not think was possible, something we had trepidation about, but we trusted the process and we did it.
Right.
Tell us about that metaphor and maybe why we come out that other end safe, and more importantly, if that was possible, tell us about how that works.
Yeah, well, the firewalker really is a metaphor for what you think is impossible isn't. And, you get up to the coals and you can feel the heat by your face.
Very much.
It's radiating up there really, and there's a part of your brain going, that's impossible. I'm going to get hurt. I'm going to get damaged. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, the number one thing I hear people say is, I'm the one person who's going to screw this up. Right? I know, I've seen everybody else make it. But see, everybody's thinking that. There it is again. But then what you've done in the workshop with me is that you've learned how to manage that. Because that's the powerful tool right there, is you go, you know what? First, I'm going to trust Kurek. I've seen other people do it. He would never set me up for failure or pain.
What was going on?
So I'm going to have some faith here. Mm-hmm. Then you go to put that first step on the coals. There's a part where you just go, okay, you know what? Even if I think this is going to hurt, I'm going to do it. And then you make it across. Well, the funny part is it's about that metaphor for putting that first foot towards your goals and dreams. Because most people won't even set a goal. Right? Because they're going, well, what if I don't get it? Then I'm going to feel bad. Well, you're definitely not going to get it if you don't set it. So they don't set them. Then the people who do, they usually set small goals because they think those are easier than grand goals.
I heard Bob Proctor once, I think he worded it, I can't remember the exact wording, but it was something like, most people when they do set goals, that's why I'm glad I was at your workshop because you didn't let us do this.
Right.
Most people set goals not what they want, but what they think they can get.
That's correct. So, but there's no passion to that.
Yeah.
So I've asked people, what's easier to make, $5,000 a year or $5 million a year? Obviously the answer could be like, well, $5,000. No, it's not, because $5,000 won't even get you a used Daewoo. Who's excited about that? I don't even know if Daewoos are even made anymore.
You've been using that as the go-to car for years.
Who can get a Model T? You might want to update your lines there, but it also is, most people can't pay off their credit card debt with $5,000, and even if you did, now you're back at zero on your way back into debt. So your brain's going, $5,000, I'll get to it. Yeah. But $5 million, you're going to have to participate at another level. You're going to have to play a game. You're going to have to educate and take actions you've never taken before. Well, let's say you go for $5 million, you fall short by 75%. We have $1.25 million in your bank account. Oh, gee, I'm struggling. And then it's easier to go after the rest of the $5 million because you're at $1.25 million. Yeah. So it's that metaphor of taking that first step towards your goals and dreams, because then once you take the first step, you go, well, wasn't that hard? Wasn't that scary? I'll take the next one. Firewalk, same thing. Once you put that foot on those hot searing coals, I promise you'll take the second, third, fourth step. Right? Nobody just stands there going,
I know what I should do now.
I wonder if I should go or hang out.
Yeah.
And, it's profound. Then I've seen a young man in New Zealand who found his father after he committed suicide. Wow. This young man was 7 years old when he came to the program and firewalked with us. And he was an introvert and eating lunch by himself at school. Now he's playing sports, and he's probably in his 20s now, I would say, since the last time I saw him. But his mom said, oh my God, is he a different human being from that moment? And it's like the Total Success Summit. You're not getting a Arnold Schwarzenegger look-alike, right? You're not getting a cardboard cutout and somebody doing his voice behind him. It's a grand dream goal. You put yourself way out on the limb to do this.
Very much.
But
Back then.
Yeah, but you
ago.
made it possible.
Yeah, crazy. And you know what? When you mention that formula, because Kurek just dropped some gold on you, because that formula you said, take that first step. That goal started by just taking that first step of finding out what it would take. I didn't know if it was going to be a $2 million movie star fee that it would be charged. I didn't know. But once I figured out what it would take, that was my first step. I thought, okay, well, if I've got that, I better take the next step and see what.
There it is. There's the momentum.
Here we are.
Well, we just had a guy from the Life Success Club in New Zealand contact us saying, we're coming to Australia, could we buy you and your wife, Erin, lunch? And Erin asked me, and I said, of course. So she wrote him back. He's like, really? I didn't think you'd say yes. Well, first, why'd you ask?
Yeah.
Right? But second is, he said, well, you teach that if you're not networking, you're not working. And I figured I'm going to the top and calling you. And I'm like, great. So we caught up with him. And him and his wife were just in awe that, we actually said yes. And when he told friends that he's hanging out with us, they said, well, what'd you have to do? And he goes, ask. And see, for anybody watching this video, that is the number one formula for success. The number one strategy, I should say, that formula. The number one thing to do is ask. It's biblical. Ask and it will be given. Is, movie starlets that I used to know, big female movie stars in Hollywood used to go without dates. And they were lonely. Why? No guy would ask them out because they were intimidated that it was a movie star and, well, she's probably way too busy for me. But they're all got the same concept.
Wow. I think, because again, part of the 6,500 hours, I remember seeing somewhere in a book somewhere that that's a mathematical formula or something. That there's something to that.
Because most people aren't.
Yeah. Wow.
Most people aren't asking. Yeah. And so for that one person who does.
You never know. You might just be dating.
And a lot of times, people are excited to be a part of it. Whatever that is, as long as you're passionate.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, another part of the formula.
Yeah, for sure. So what the thing I was going to ask you before about that magic question, about when you were saying to set grand dream goals, about what some people might be sitting in that seminar room like I was when I was asked those magic questions about setting a goal, and your wording was the grand dream goals,
Right.
What can our audience kind of look forward to in your session? And many of the speakers. You coached some of the speakers that are sitting there as part of this summit. What are the guys going to take away from the whole summit, and in particular your session, about what they want to achieve getting to the next level of their careers, lives, whatever?
Well, what I'm going to teach is something that you've never even heard me teach before. Why? You got to keep him on his toes, right? Otherwise he's like a broken record of everybody he studied, me being one of them, and vice versa. Glenn, as I've watched your stuff, I've watched you grow. I've spoke at your earlier programs. I'm really proud of you personally. What you've achieved and who you grew into being as a man. Because I remember sitting in that dinky little office. Matter of fact, you were an employee then.
Yeah. Oh well, I was. That was one of my first consulting clients, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I certainly wasn't. I don't even remember when I was getting paid, but I remember that's it.
So what I'm going to teach is how, what is the specific formula for how you can achieve and create any goal that you want. I mean any goal, and it's so simplified where I'm going to teach you that you're going to go, oh my God, that really is it. Wow. And understand that, and by the way, then if people held up the formula, I'm going to teach them to your life as an example to go, wow, that's exactly what he did. And then Sylvester Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger or, Richard Branson, anybody you want to talk to, you look and you go, oh, what? That's exactly what they did. Yeah. Not the activities, the formula behind it. And it's so simplified that it's gonna blow your mind. By the way, that's just the opening of the summit. Imagine then taking what I'm going to teach you and applying it to every speaker that you're listening to, how it's going to change the game for you when you come there, because I'm so honored that you've asked me to open the program. I figured we're going to kick some butt, and we're going off the charts on this one.
Wow. And I love it that how, what some of the things you asked me to identify when I was looking at famous people, in your audience in the Life Success Club, in various people that you used as examples, people that you've coached, Nat Cook, Kerry Pothouse, they're going to be there speaking as well. You coach them to gold in Sydney.
And the first time we've ever shared the stage at the same conference.
Wow.
Like Kerry and I have spoken to the same places. Nat and I have. Nat and Kerry have, but the three of us have never actually been at the same event.
Wow. I'm
so it's again another gold event right there.
Wow. And you've always taught us to look for those commonalities, ignoring
right.
the specifics, but looking for those things we've got in common, because that's where the gold is. That's where the magic is.
Well, I have a client in Adelaide who wants to be he's a really very, very successful property developer, makes millions. And now he wants to be an actor, right? So I've been coaching him again. And I said, look, everything I taught you back in 2003 when I was first coaching you to be successful in property is the same thing you learn now, right? And he's like, no, I still want to hire you. I said, okay, great. And so we started going through it, and he's going through his old notes. He's like, this is the same formula. I told you. But one of the things I taught him is that, these movie people that you're thinking about, they're people. They're just people who, that's just their job. That's just what they do, right? So if you're a janitor, that's what you do, and it's no different. And there are people trying to get paid, because if you're not getting paid, you're not a professional.
Yep.
And so I happen to be in Adelaide training a sales team. We stop in a dive bar, only because one of the guys, he's got brand new shoes, gets blisters. We got to sit him down, get some Band-Aids for him. So we're sitting there, and my buddy from Adelaide, my client, joins us. I go to the back of the bathroom, go through the bar, and I look, and I'm like, isn't that the actress from the TV show Charmed? And isn't that the guy who plays her husband on the show? And that's Shannon Doherty, right?
So the cast of Charmed
is there, right?
Wow.
And this is last year, or 2 years ago.
Yep.
And so I'm hanging out with him, and talking and throwing darts and just being normal with him, right? And here comes my friend, walks in, and I go, Martin, I'd like to introduce you to Shannon Doherty, and and he's like, is this even real? And he said, Kurek, did you create this just to show me that actors are just real people? And I go, absolutely.
Use what you got. Yeah, that's it.
But he really got, to just hang out with them and see if they're real people that just used a specific formula to make themselves successful, because how many actors never work? And then you meet actors who are consistently working. What's the difference? These people were using one formula, these people were using a different formula.
Wow. And I love that formula can transcend whatever industry, because the amount of people in whatever industries you've coached, including me in kind of running seminars and stuff, and Nat Cook and that in the volleyball world and property developers.
And every athlete, every sports team I've worked with, Brisbane Broncos.
Yeah. Max Walker. You were coaching Maxie Walker.
Yeah, took him fire walking, and every one of them has won, including Tamati Ellison, who went to play with the All Blacks, and now he's in Japan playing. I don't even know the sport. Companies that I've worked with, businesses that I've worked with, movie people now. I have movie directors and cinematographers and composers. To me, I don't even need to know the business. I didn't even know the product. All I need to know is the formula, then implement what they want to do into this formula. That's what I'm going to be teaching you guys.
Yeah, I can't wait. You guys can hear my enthusiasm about this. I just want to pick Kurek's brain to give you a taste of what I've learned from Kurek himself, what you're going to take away from that. Man, I'm stoked you're coming down, man. I really appreciate it, man. And guys, just to let you know, Kurek I owe him everything, to say nothing of the fact that he's even waived his fee for this. Man, I really appreciate just everything you've done for me professionally, and certainly for this event, and what you'll be doing in the future when the people who are there watching this come down and hang out with us for a couple of days, mate. It's going to be huge.
I get to pinch myself, Glenn. As you know, money's never been my inspiration. It's not my driving force. That's actually one of the reasons why I make a lot of money.
Yeah,
it's not what I'm going for. Money is a byproduct of adding value, right? So you go to a restaurant, food's awesome, service is terrible, we don't go back, right? Sure. Well, service is adding value. That's how you know you've been served, is you've been added value to. Yeah. So you go to an adequate restaurant, food's good, service is awesome, that's your favorite restaurant. Yeah. So my thing has always been about how can I add more value. It's when I meditate every day, it's how may I serve, how may I serve. The byproduct is the wealth and all that stuff that comes, you know, I already have a great life. The best thing part though is that I also have the opportunity to help other people fulfill their dreams, and that is something that is beyond any dollar I could ever make.
Wow.
And it's always been my driving force. Is I love people, and I love to see the lights come on in people's heads. Like yourself, I'm so proud of you, man. And you just shined at everything you've done. And I know it hasn't been an easy road all the time.
It's been some challenge for
Yep.
sure, mate.
But here we are.
And here we are.
And we're still going at it.
Wow, man. So, guys, big, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of work, a lot of learning, and I can't wait to bring you a who's who of my mentors, my heroes, the people who've helped me get to where I want to be, and topped off by my childhood hero, the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I still pinch myself that we get to hang out with Arnold, with Kurek, and with a who's who of success in this country and internationally. So, on that note, mate, guys, we're going to see you there. I'm going to see you there. Mate, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. And please come up to me after I get off stage, give me a hug, and let me know who you are, because I'd love to hear your story and what your life's all about.
Wow. Until then, folks, we'll see you there.
See ya.